be devastating so for Evil Geniuses as well, simply because of the roster change. It was allegedly supposed to propel them even further into battling and contending for that #1 spot globally against G2, and it looks like they might not even make it to the finals as things are right now. Granted, very, very early on to say that. Lion Maverick. Is Rogue banning Maverick too, which is interesting because they were the only ones really utilizing him to the fullest potential. I don't think EG actually has picked Maverick more than once. I don't even recall if they did pick him once.
Rogue banning Clash now. We saw Clash getting trotted out a couple times by Evil Geniuses. A lot of teams have used Clash. We've seen her pick rate much higher than Maverick's. I don't know if that just speaks to her utility or the fact that a lot of teams haven't realized how to use Maverick to the best. We've also said that Maverick is not a hard breacher. He is a hard breacher in the sense that his gadget can breach through reinforced walls. That is the definition of a hard breacher, but we might have to put a little asterisk next to it because his job is to not create a way for you to get through. A lot of times he creates sight lines through reinforcement that can either be used as kill holes or to force the defenders to fall back or take engagements through angles that are created by the attackers to benefit the attackers, first and foremost. Then Mira being banned out. Mira's bans just seem like a technicality at this point. We also have another update for you. SK taking map #1 against Team Secret by a score of 6-4 on Border. So it'll head to map #2 between the two teams. Can SK win that one 2-0, or are we going to see a second and potential third map go in favor of Team Secret? We'll try to keep you updated depending on what happens. And as well, at the moment, both Noble and Millennium ongoing for the time being. I've said this so many times, but because you probably want to know the updates of these games, go on to Twitter, go at DreamHackR6. If you want to stay fully updated, all that information will be there available for you.
CCTV Casual to start things off for Evil Geniuses on the defense to keep themselves alive in this tournament. And I mean, we've touched on it multiple times over various games. The invitational slot is what everyone here is fighting for, and I mean, EG currently not in a playoff spot in North American Pro League as it stands. Granted, things could change, but I mean, I think everyone would agree the showing they've put forth thus far is not indicative of a team that's going to finish top 2 in North America based on how things have gone with other teams. SK continues to look like they're going to go on a roll. I think
that's a pretty good assumption, right? Because right now it's Rogue and SK that are sitting in the driver's seats of those two spots. Of course, with going to Rio, it's not even in the Invitational necessarily. We're also talking about Rio for Pro League. There's no invite, there's no qualifiers. Your ticket in is doing well in the regular season. And right now, EG is actually sitting in 4th as they lost the tiebreaker, I suppose, against Space Station Gaming, who are now sitting in 3rd. So EG is a little bit farther away, and of course I think it would be a big disappointment for that team to not find themselves attending a LAN. It would actually be the first one non-DreamHack that they've missed since Sao Paulo of last year, so it would be about a year that they've been at every single one. That would obviously be a big disappointment. It would also force them to have to qualify directly for the Invitational, as you mentioned.
Yeah, have to go through the online qualifiers if you're not going to be a top 2 team or win out here. I mean, they could spend the money to head to the next DreamHack Winter as well, but that's a risk as well. It's a lot more distance to cover than it is for everyone to come here for an NA team to an NA tournament. Getting back to the match at hand here. More than a minute gone, still holding out is EG on the garage rafters for their hold. It's BC on the... Sorry, the Maestro as a frag grenade gets launched in and takes down Geo. The Legion gone pretty early on. That's a detriment there for EG as the goo mines do accumulate over time. It's a problem. BC still holding firm though on those garage rafters, being a thorn in a, as I say that, a thorn in the side of Rogue as Eclipse steps on a goo mine rushing downstairs.
Great
interesting imagery. Wooden barricades. BC takes down Slash in the process as he's detonating a not an exothermic, a suffocating arrow bolt on the Capital. Shots firing back and forth between Shuttle and BC, and it's another frag grenade kill. Eclipse takes down BC. Eclipse with an impact nade firing at him from blue, and another kill for him. He's on a roll. 4v2 advantage for Rogue. 50 seconds remaining, plenty of time for Rogue to complete the collapse. It's up to Young and NVK holding down on site. Young pulling out the FMG9 on smoke. A little bit interesting of a selection there, but we've talked about the recoil on the SMG11 not being the greatest.
No, so I mean, there have been a number of teams using it. In particular, Thinking Nate and Brian, both on Space Station, have been pulling out the FMG2. It's not a bad gun. It's just you needed that shotgun to be able to remodel the site, but now if you have Maestro, you have the Bailiff, you've got the impacts of the smoke. Every single kill for Eclipse as he holds on Rappel, looking through the one small opening that has been created by the Hibana Pellets plant going down, and EG is going to need to get coverage into the site. As NVK tries to attempt to get right in, there's going to be a crossfire held. Plant goes down successfully. Eclipse with a 4K so far in the round. He needs to be able to get Young in order to complete the set. Easily will fall, and that's Young taking out one SAS operator. Will he be able to get the other? It's a 2v1 in favor of Rogue with Diffuser down halfway through, and Young has quite a task ahead of him. Not to mention that, everybody wants to see a possible ace. Crouch walking his way through the garage, Young could possibly get the drop on Eclipse or Shuttle, and he'll take out Shuttle, so Eclipse will need to be in a position, but he's on Rappel, and there's an ace! Eclipse will line him up, 5 kills for the Sledge. He'll get everyone with Diffuser down from his teammates. A great effort, and that's the kind of start that you want. Rogue already off to a good one, 1-0.
Top floor hold successful, and I mean, the defense there just falling apart very slowly. The frag grenade play from Eclipse, starting things off with a bang, continuing the run. Obviously, one-man show in that particular round, but the setup was there from a lot of other members of Rogue. Not a problem for them to collapse as a team. Super running in and getting the plant down, also notable. Avoiding the smoke canister from Necrox. A little bit of an echo there. CCTV cash room once again from EG as they try it again. The mirror being banned specifically for CCTV cash room is going to be detrimental to the hold. Swapping off to an echo will be Geo from the Legion. So instead of dying midway through the round with only getting about half of your possible utility that accumulates over time, it's going to go for the double echo drone with the buff that wasn't too long ago, but seems like it's been out for a decent amount of time now.
Yeah. What a play by Eclipse. Every single thing. It actually looked like we were going to see Young be able to get him on Rappel. That's a very dangerous spot for people to be in. You are incredibly exposed and very vulnerable. A lot of players deeply uncomfortable with being on Rappel. It also affects your sensitivity and you're being able to pivot and move because there is a certain limit to the way that you're able to move on Rappel. Could have possibly gotten Eclipse as he was in mid-transition from Rappel to standing out on that ledge by Cash/CCTV. EG's going to give another whack at it. Now, Clubhouse typically does tend to stray more towards the defender side of things, especially with the operator bans we have. I would say that the attackers can probably do some pretty decent damage here. A Lion and a Maverick being banned means that once again, with those 2 hard breachers available for them, the attackers probably have a really good path in being able to cause maximum destruction and take away a lot of the tools that defenders have at their disposal, especially with Mira being banned for the defense. But even when we've seen no hard breachers banned on Clubhouse, the defense have typically been able to run up the score. For Evil Geniuses starting on defense, that is possibly a net positive for them. But at the same time, not a good start. They'll try again on another site that tends to be more defender favored. If not, I can foresee them probably going downstairs rather than trying to risk Gym/Master, especially since that Gym/Master site has now been made a little bit less viable for defenders due to the removal of impact tricking on the Jacuzzi wall.
Eclipse is going to drop straight into logistics, and he's pre-firing through the construction wall on the logistics side. There's an outline on the other side over by construction, but I'm sure whoever that was for EG has bailed out now, not trying to hold for an extended period of time in a very precarious situation. Going to be droning from the safety of construction. Got to be wary for a push out there. Looks like it was NVK who was on the roam game, is falling back to site now as the Jaeger would make the most sense. Shuttle on the Zofia lifeline with the impact going to be opening up a hole above the reinforced skinny walls towards construction from Cash. The Rogue push seemingly changing up their push here. They don't want to go for that balcony wall with the garage rafters control. They want to instead go for a construction push, which is a setup that we haven't really seen be the most effective. And Canadian has somehow evaded absolutely everyone on Rogue. Drones, personnel, everyone. As I say that, a drone will pop by on pool table. Canadian discovered, and he'll have to reposition himself to not be caught off or even be predicted on a flank hold.
Here comes the execute though, and if Canadian is able to get back, kill enough time, that Rogue doesn't necessarily have somebody that is going to be dispatched to watch that Bandit try to retake. but who knows. Looked like it was going to be an execute, but a great, speaking of execute, it'll be Young getting executed. Slash with that para, just a nice pinpoint, precise shot around the bomb to take out the smoke. Young almost being able to save it for EG last round. He's not going to be able to do any late round heroics this time. Slash pulls out the crossbow bolt, and there goes the asphyxiating bolt to cut off across from Red, but Capitao taking significant damage in the meantime. Unbeknownst to Rogue, Canadian still on the lam, sitting downstairs inside of Strip Club, enjoying the savory jazz music playing away. He'll have to work back to site quickly as we've only got 30 seconds left. And MVK will start things off with Slash going down Eclipse, and easily a volley, and BC adds to it to put us at a 3v2, and one of two was Canadian as he doesn't make it back to site. That'll leave just BC and Geo up for EG, and the numbers advantage in favor of Rogue. Plant not going down. Yokai still very much in play. Geo just needs to watch the clock. At 11 seconds, Plant goes down. He can stop it at 5 and then manage to get it in the extra time as well. But he will be deprived as his Yokai gets busted. Super should be able to successfully get it down. He will. Shuttle is there, and it's all up to the Bearing 9 and Geo in a 1v3. The Bearing 9 not as formidable a weapon as it used to be. Under fire on top of Red. Geo tries to retake, looking through a hole in the wall. Well, Spy 1 and a beautiful pre-fire on the Shuttle as he pops up through the window in Garage. Geo ready to enter into CCTV. Realizing he has no Yokais left and is largely blind for information, he'll have to rely on the pings of his teammates. And through the soft wall, he'll get a couple shots. That deployable shield will be his undoing as Super pops up, and the two guns from Rogue able to work together. Geo, life being bled away, and Super will be credited with that final kill. Diffuser down, Rogue up 2-0.
Consecutive attempts upstairs on CCTV and cash for EG, and consecutive failures. Pretty outright, honestly. If the Echo drone had stayed alive a little bit longer, but a smart EMP from, I believe it was Slash, if I'm not mistaken. Might have been someone else, but anyway, whoever the Thatcher was, an intelligent EMP there to disable and bring the Yokai to the floor, destroy that, get that off the board, don't need to mess with that. And now, wow, EG just digging their heads in the sand. They're going to go for 3 straight on CCTV and cash, and the way the last 2 rounds have gone, I mean, Rogue have shown immense flexibility and complete control of this game. They've proven now they can attack multiple different ways and still become successful. Canadian getting droned out was very unfortunate by the pool table because he was in a wonderful position to come for a great flank up the main stairs and come through master bedroom towards that construction push. His positioning, like, he read the situation correctly. The only problem is at that point he backed off to strip instead of trying to return to site and help his teammates, and all he did was distract the Thatcher for maybe 30 seconds, and Thatcher gave up as he goes for the flank. Gets caught by a flank hold down below, I believe, main door looking into lounge. So Canadian not really doing a good job of distracting a lot of attackers, just one primarily, and not doing a good job of supporting his teammates either. So bit of a wasted roam there. I don't like this pick of CCTV cash 3 straight.
I mean, it's always difficult to agree with a team who does this, because let's say it actually does work this time. For probably the 3rd game of the day, you're going to find a team winning a site finally on the 3rd round, which means it's locked for the next 2 rounds. So now EG is going to have to basically go in cold to another site for rounds 4 and 5. Evil Geniuses should at least walk away from this half with 2 rounds in their back pocket. That's typically where you want to be on Clubhouse in order to keep this close before you transition into going on attack. If they fail here on cash, then they're going to need to win outright on the next 2. Now, they can go back to cash and CCTV if they lose here, but you'll be at a 3-0 deficit. I thought that they were going to switch it up before they got to this point. I suggested that maybe downstairs would be a better alternative for them, but who knows where they are with their strats and their coordination with Geo. They could just be simply prepared for the site in particular and just wanting to get it to work. Biggest issue for them is, oh, that's a trade. Canadian takes out Eclipse, and Eclipse takes out Canadian. 2 shots right to the head, and at the same time, both will fall. But at least you've silenced. Eclipse will pick up his 7th frag of this matchup, only in the 3rd round. That's pretty impressive. Canadian will pick up his 1st. It's been a bit of a struggle outside of Consulate so far for him today. Don't know if they're just utilizing Canadian differently. They've seemed to have put NVK on more of a traditional fragging role, which could be alleviating some of that pressure that maybe Canadian feels, while also trying to return to that IGL role, in-game leadership role, for those that don't know what IGL stands for, since people's eyes glaze over when that term has been used in the past. But we like to say deceptive rounds. 90 seconds in, and Eclipse is the only one down. That's utility of those 2 frag grenades, which means that the ADSs are even more powerful of NVK. But with the Zofia on the board, no ADS is safe. Great drone work from Rogue will spy at least one of the yokais. The IQ of Easily will also be able to assist in that, but you want to make sure that the yokais are taken out of action because you effectively neutered the Echo, and that was part of Gio's problem, was that when he tried to retake the site, he had no utility or gadgetry available for him. I think Easily struggling a little bit here with that yokai. Gio does some work himself, though, as he's able to get the kill onto Capitao. Whether his yokais live or not will be a question needing to be answered in the next minute.
Finally, a man advantage for Evil Geniuses as they try to dig out of this hole down 2-0. Stun canisters being launched in by Shuttle, most likely to clear ADSs and such, and mainly just disorient the defenders playing in sight as well. Easily still playing up in construction. He spotted out an Echo drone on his top left of the construction doorway, and this deployable shield once again set up for Evil Geniuses, stalling out the pre-fires momentarily, but an easy turn for Easily. Shuttle receiving some fire from up top as BC's gone back to the Meister after trying out the dock for a round. Unsuccessful, so he swaps back. And he's holding out the garage rafters pretty well as there's only 20 seconds remaining and there's still a lot of plant delay on the board for Evil Geniuses. A couple shots to the hands. Young, his smoke babe, not going to repel Easily for very long. He's going to push right through his own rotate hole and drops Young with a wonderful headshot. Looking down the cache there, so the plant is being completed inside of CCTV by Super. Another defender will fall as Gio's taken off the board. Trade out now as MVK drops Easily, and Super has been down. It's all up to Shuttle now in a 1v2. Eclipse died and left it in the capable hands of his teammates, but it's falling apart now post-plant. NVK trying to retake from the cache stairs, and BC trying to make his way back from the rafters. Holding the window currently is Shuttle, trying to watch the rotations as they get back into sight, and Super still giving calls as he's down, but not finished off just yet. Laying directly on the diffuser, waiting for anyone to press in. BC and MVK both have control over cache now. BC's going to finish Super, but it's still Shuttle now. He can go for the vault on the window as the defuse is initiated, spraying wildly in. NVK bouncing back and forth. He's going to fall. The Russian with the RG-15 in hand, and Shuttle's going to close it out. A 3-0 lead for Rogue on the back of Shuttle in the 1v2.
That right there, that's a game loser, that round. That is a heartbreaker. He breaks the back of Rogue, and just like a cheeky smile just to celebrate. I like that you pointed it out that Super was still giving calls, because a lot of people think that there's not much usage when you're down, but Super's still in the thick of it. He literally still hears those footsteps in proximity to where he is. He's basically, at that point, a downed drone. He's just sitting there waiting, constantly feeding information to his teammates, trying to equip Shuttle with as much information as possible so that he can stick the landing and make sure that anybody trying to break the diffuser doesn't do so successfully. And Shuttle gets it in just under the wire. Now, this is the third successful attack for Rogue on cache/CCTV. We suspected that after the second round, Evil Geniuses would probably pick a different site. Well, now they're finally going to do it. They're going to go over to Jim and Master, which is interesting because we haven't had the biggest sample size of this map. We've seen it a number of times, but hard enough to really, or not enough to really shake out exactly how that wall change works for Jacuzzi. In fact, most of the attacks we've seen on this side in particular have stemmed over towards the cache side of things. Think back to the Noble matchup in particular, where that's where they were usually fighting from. So who knows, maybe we can see a bit more of a concerted effort on that Jacuzzi wall. Can't impact trick it anymore. For those curious as to what that means, the very top of that wall in the top left corner of your screen, that Jacuzzi wall, the two reinforcements, that, yeah, top left, right there. That wood panel used to be able to be breakable, and you could throw an impact grenade at it, and the explosion from the impact grenade on the inside would blow up either some X-Karos or the exothermic charge on the outside. That's not available anymore for defenders, and it made it a very defendable site. Now, whether this was intentional or not, it's been fixed. So it means that attackers can use that to their advantage, but we've seen teams go for a more common strat, which is to take control of garage and then push through cache and push through CCTV in the process. Last time around, it's been very interesting because both pushes that we've seen onto CCTV have not really involved a garage take at all. Those pushes have come primarily from over by construction side and by locking down control of red, which is not usually what we see teams quarrel over here.
Failed nitro cell by Young or NVK, couldn't tell which, as there's two defenders stacked inside of cache currently, and the top of the wall going to be blown open now. It's possibly a frag grenade from Eclipse, who's had a lot of success battling BC for maybe the name of frag champion, launching it over through the tight hole, caught by an ADS immediately. He's going to check the drone hole now as well for any feet playing in the corner. Plenty of drone pings coming out from Rogue as they all assault into cache. Very wary of the crossfire from construction. A minute ticked over, and not really a lot lost for Rogue, but not a lot gained. They're struggling to push through onto cache, and they're going to elect to go for a small rotation. Eclipse is heading over to the logistics hatch, probably cut off any rotation help through construction if it hasn't been reinforced off on the logistics side. Easily looking down, trying to just ascertain what kind of crossfire he's about to walk into. He wants to push out cache, he wants to push out CCTV control, make sure no one's going to flank him on the windows as the rest of his team asserts their dominance outside the windows of the master bedroom and gym balconies. That's most likely where we see a lot of these pushes come, honestly. I mean, no one's really trying to push through construction. It's about the window balcony, as long as you can control that no one's going to peek you from the backside. As I say that, peeking out is NVK, taking a lot of bullets to the side at the hands of Easily in that 5-5-2. Playing right in behind the island, going to play it safe now. Only 60 seconds left as it's been another quick round, and NVK is going to peek out and drop Slash. Echo's going to trade it right back onto BC, and a second one for Eclipse. Geo falls, and it's another man advantage for Rogue as they press in towards the objective. NVK again failing to secure the kill onto Easily. Eclipse trying to battle out of logistics towards the main stairs. Canadian on a flank. NVK drops Eclipse, but Easily and Shuttle both jump in. Young and NVK fall. It's all Canadian in a 1v3. One at the jacuzzi wall. He's going to light him up, but can't find the kill either. Down to about 35 HP. He's got more people pushing down the gym hallway. Disoriented and Easily will be downed by a Legion mine in the back. So a technical 1v2, Super with the fuser in hand. Gonna vault over to construction, and Canadian still playing by the main stairs. It's possible for Easily to be revived. Not a lot of time left, but Super's gonna take the time to do it anyway. Now all assaulting in towards Master behind the A-bomb. One makes it in behind the mattress, and that's Super gonna be completing the plant. One holding inside a bathroom, one construction. Canadian's walking into a pre-fire, even with the plant going down. Looks in towards construction, but Shuttle closes it out once again. 4 straight for Rogue, and EG almost on the brink of elimination.
A winnable situation for the Jaeger as long as he lines up his shots. He saw the plant going down. He saw the silhouette very briefly next to the mattress and just figured that it wasn't worthwhile going for it, because even if he does get the kill on the planter, there's still enough time on the clock. At that point, there was about 5, 6, 7 seconds left that they could have possibly then traded him off. As you mentioned, there was one in the bathroom, there was one playing inside of construction. That was a nice crossfire that could have been established if bathroom had pivoted, but it did look like they were looking more towards that jacuzzi hallway and more towards gym as well, to try and get maximum coverage in case they were blind as to where the Jaeger of Canadian was after he encountered the one playing by jacuzzi outside. Evil Geniuses, with possibly 2 rounds away from being knocked out here in the quarterfinals, they're going to take a tactical pause. A good time for them to do that, recoup and take a breather, but really they've accomplished next to nothing here. They failed on cache 3 times in a row. Eventually something has to break. They moved over to Jim and Master, and now they're looking right now at being in a position to go down and lose this entire first half by getting swept out. That's not fantastic for Evil Geniuses fans. And you can even see on their face just the looks of extreme disappointment. Finishing second in so many tournaments, there was obviously a lot of expectations on them no matter where they go. But this is certainly a result that they would have never anticipated.
No, they've battled back from deficits before, but I wonder if this is too big a mountain to climb. EG, and the scariest part is that Rogue have been on attack for these 4 rounds. Now we head into the 5th as the tactical break expires. Last round on the first half. I'm scared though, because Consulate, it was EG on the attacks that looked so bad. Their defense didn't look terrible. I mean, sometimes it was not optimal, but now it's their defensive side, their strongest side, at least on Oregon, or sorry, Consulate anyway, that they're just brutally failing on. They're gonna go back to CCTV and cache. 4 out of 5 defensive rounds. You're 0 for 3. I don't think 4th time is the charm, boys. This is do or die for EG. You go down 5-0, it's basically over.
I'm trying to find here the last time. So, from my own stats, these are just matches that I've casted. The last time that I tracked a match on Clubhouse where the attackers won a majority of the rounds on Clubhouse came in what appears to be week 1 of Latin America. It looks like it could be wrong, might not be the first week, but Immortals versus Liquid. The attackers won 5 rounds, the defenders won 4. That's the last time that just going through all the stats that I have in front of me that I've written down by hand, the last time the attackers have won a majority of the rounds on Clubhouse. We've already got 4 rounds in the attackers column at the moment. And Rogue could be faced with a situation where they only need to win 1 or 2 on defense. Everything else from all the matches since the new season has started, it's all been a defensive affair, no matter what. There have been attacking sides, though. One example, it just happened. Noble won 3 on attack against Honors 2 on defense, sure, but then Noble went on and won 3 on defense, tipping it in favor of the defenders. So obviously it's very dependent on what operators end up getting banned, but the conventional wisdom suggests that Clubhouse should be more defender-sided. The fact that Rogue is just running up the score on attack, it doesn't bode well for EG to be able to recover this in that second half when they have to go on to attack, especially if they're going to be at a disadvantage just simply based on how the map plays.
Clips is an unstoppable hurricane as well, as he's just running roughshot all over EG today, and it looks like it's not going to slow down anytime soon. Again on the sledge, coming through construction. Once again, there's no presence by EG anywhere further out of sight. Looks like they're playing timid. They don't want to overextend, which I can understand. Being down 4-0, you don't want to make the simple mistakes, or maybe make a play, but this is what I talked about pregame. You know, it looks like EG are scared to make a play. They're scared to make an aggressive move. They want to play very rigid for some reason, very strapbook heavy, and not try and deviate from the standard path, and that's just not going to work against such a versatile team like Rogue.
They'll manage to take out one of the walls inside of construction and really start their assault here, but construction being the crown jewel right now in EG's, well, I guess it's in their crown. Crown jewel in their crown. But if they lose control of construction, there's a lot of utility from Rogue's side of things, both with the Capitao as well as the Zofia. That can just be Evil Genius's absolute undoing. And once again, it's the story that Rogue is just ignoring the garage, which seems so odd because the garage is such a central focus, either for Hibana or for Thermite, usually for the Hibana to open up the sight lines, as you'll typically have a Mute, maybe a Jaeger, maybe a Maestro playing up top, trying to cut off a push so that you can keep control of a pretty vital asset for the team. But no, 30 seconds left, and Execute will need to start at any moment as Slash stares through the single door, looking in towards Cash. He'll be joined by Eclipse, who has 9 kills, looking to try to break double digits here. We'll have, at minimum, 2 rounds left to go. Gio will start things off with a kill onto Slash, and now Super being down. This might be EG's best chance, but there's Easily and Shuttle getting 1 apiece. Back to a 3v3. Inside of Garage, Shuttle's able to get a kill easily with 1, but no, they don't get the plant down. A miscue from Rogue, and EG just simply wait out the clock. In a 1v3, they are gifted a round due to Rogue's negligence, and there we have it. We'll go 4-1 in favor of the first half for Rogue. Rogue on a defense.
Wow, that's actually unbelievable that nobody thought to go pick up the diffuser in that flurry. I mean, everyone's frag hunting, I guess. Yeah, like you said, a miscue. No one thinking about, okay, I'm going to go kill someone. Someone else is going to get the diffuser. I'm sure everyone on the team said that at the same time, unfortunately. EG heading to the attack now at a 4-1 deficit, heading into the half, or the second half now of map number 2. Already surrendered Consulate by a scoreline of 6-2 to Rogue. And the same thing continues. It's the same storyline, unless the attacks have somehow shaped up and improved immensely. I mean, I'm talking exponential improvement over 30 minutes of talking about it while being on the defensive side. This is not going to bode well for EG, as Parker alluded to. Defensive side is predominantly winning these rounds on Clubhouse these days.
As we get towards the end of this matchup in particular, an update on the 2 matches that are ongoing right now. Of course, Cloud9 is the first team to make it into the semifinals. The winner of this matchup will also make it into the semifinals, whether it be Rogue or Evil Genius's stage. One hell of a comeback. In the Millennium versus Noble match, map number 1 on Bank, we are currently in overtime. So both teams will be fighting in extra innings to see who will take map number 1 between the 2 teams. One of only 2 European teams to make it into the semifinals, or into the quarterfinals so far. 6 North American teams, 2 European teams, probably NA's best chance at actually winning an event. And then on the second match of the day, SK versus Secret. SK, of course, taking map number 1. It is now currently 2-2 in map 2 for SK versus Secret. It's Secret's map. So once again, conventional wisdom, which isn't always so conventional. It really probably should be Secret's map, but hey, there we are.
Attackers have located.
That was odd, just a vault through the window. I thought I heard a Claymore being shot at the same time.
It did sound like a Claymore getting broken. Yeah, absolutely.
Not sure what that was. Nonetheless, Habana pellets being used on the outer garage walls in the lower portion. Geo using the OTS-03 to break open the logistics hatch, kind of the same play that Eclipse was going for previously, and a drop into logistics. A similar push coming out from EG, see if they'll have the same kind of success and dominance that Rogue had on their construction pushes. I mean, 2 for 3 on the construction pushes, 3 for 4 attacking this site. Not a bad ratio at all, and EG's gonna have to replicate every part of that success and more to push this to map number 3.
Now, unsurprising here to see that there be some influence whatsoever on construction, but EG is now looking to possibly rotate. Here's what I mentioned about that garage. You saw 3 ADSs at the top of the garage there, with the Maestro of easily situated, meaning that garage control is likely going to need to be taken by Evil Geniuses at some point, unless they have to deal with the ACOG of the Maestro through the garage window. Now, mind you, a Capitau's asphyxiating bolts and smoke arrows will go right through all those ADSs. Of course, Evil Geniuses, as you will denote in the top right-hand corner, there is no Capitau on the board for them, so they will have to burn through those ADSs with their 3 charges apiece, or 2 charges apiece on the 3 separate ADSs, 6 charges in total. Wall of cash will be blown open, and it looks like we're going to try to see some bandit tricking here from Rogue, but Super will fall off after getting hit with all 3 concussive blasts from Zofia. Shuttle will also, as there's a party at the moment at the top of red, as Flash, Shuttle, and Super, all 3 S's being sequestered and contained. One will have to likely rotate, as they're all just way too linear at the moment, all lined up. But just 40 seconds left, and everybody is still alive. Young, the only person who's really taken any damage, and speak too soon, as Canadian is the very first person to go down in round number 6.
From the rafters, easily takes down Canadian. Young taking a lot of damage as well, as he's alone out on the balcony. NVK was there launching EMPs, but he stands rotated, and Geo still trying to go for this 2-prong push. He's able to down underneath the island and finish off Super, leveling man count, the health advantage, and the time advantage still heavily in the favor of Rogue. As I say, that Young bursts in. They'll get traded out, though, by easily covering from the rafters, still with the Alda in hand. Trying to push through CCTV now and return to Cash. NVK drops easily. Slash hug on the Cash stairs. One gets down, easily will finish him off. Trying to complete the plant. NVK will drop Eclipse, rushing through, but no, NVK catches him on the rotation. All Slash had to do was walk in, put 1 bullet in the brain of the planter, and it would have been a 5-1 lead. But EG, once again, staving off the elimination round. 4-2 deficit, only 2 to put it to a tie.
I mean, if we think that this, with the way the bans have worked out, that it's more attacker favored, then we could possibly see EG be able to kick it up a notch, maybe get another round or 2, equalize, and then send it into the coin flip in overtime and possibly luck out or not. But I mean, the 1 round that Evil Geniuses were gifted could possibly translate into some momentum and wind at their back. That was a pretty good round. A couple things that happened there. Number 1, that's why you take advantage of the garage. Easily was allowed to stay up there, gets 2 very big kills playing at the top of garage, and they need to put quite a lot of focus on ensuring that that soft wall that was able to be shot through by the Alda, the LMG of Maestro, is not working against Evil Geniuses. Now, Easily wasn't able to get into the site because you have to be vulnerable as you vault through that window, and with the open reinforcement to his right, and then the crossfire that can possibly be established through the window. Even though there was a deployable shield set down by Rogue, it's very easy for them to just see exactly where that Maestro is going to jump in from. They took him down, but then the rest of Rogue just were all stacked up at the top of red. That was the biggest problem. Top of red, rotate into Cash. You've got 3 bodies there. NVK just needs to look down that corridor and keep picking you off. And that's exactly what he did. The ACOG working its wonders against a Hollow on the Jaeger. And even though the carbine is such a good weapon, you can't outduel at that distance. So Evil Geniuses, pretty methodical, all things considered, and a good round for them. Probably their best round so far. Rogue is going to go back to Cash and CCTV and hope for a potentially better result. Now, they're going to bring the same tools that we saw before. Might it pay off a little bit differently for them? Only time will tell.
One alteration to the lineup is Canadian taking the Sledge instead of the Zofia, and the most influential point of that round was Canadian using the concussion blast and the lifeline to disable Super's bandit trick on the balcony wall. If it weren't for that, Young wouldn't have had the ability to rush through and cause so much havoc and pull easily out of position. Now swapping to the Sledge. I mean, frag grenades can also take out Super from range if that is going to be the route that EG go for, but Canadian was also the first victim on the EG side. If he exposes himself as a notoriously aggressive player, a good fragger, if he exposes himself and that frag grenade is all they have really to stop Super from going for the bandit trick, lest they get incredibly lucky.
And Easley's position given away for just a moment as Geo saw through that open hole in the soft wall that there was a bit of an orange or a yellow highlight. And that highlight, of course, being the skin of the Maestro, but Super will huck out a C4, the Bandit C4, which has seen a rise ever since he lost his third barbed wire. First casualty will once again be Canadian. But as you mentioned, and I think you pointed out quite wisely, the Zofia using those 3 concussive bursts to prevent the Bandit trick means that I think EG knows they're probably not going to be able to stop the Bandit trick this time. And instead, one of those exothermic charges will be extended on the wall that leads into construction. So that's where EG will have to rotate and begin their push from, because that wall leading to outside by CCTV will probably remain safe so long as Super stays alive. They got half the round to work with it, but construction is going to be their primary focus right now. And I'd imagine that they're probably going to have to once again maybe focus on Garage, but they ignored it last time around. They could possibly do the same.
If they leave Easley up there, they're going to fall victim to the Aldo once again. It's just a fact. Easley's going to be able to hit those shots at range, and you're not going to be able to see him behind the grate or through just the myriad of tiny holes in the soft wall. Looks like Young is going to be attempting to try and go for the wall right now. Inside of construction, flashbangs being launched through. He's actually outside, launching flashes at Easley, playing on those Raptors. He's going to fall straight off and go for a rotate around. Time not on the favor of Evil Geniuses here, as again, they're down a man, down the utility, wasted already. And Young's still going for that rotate over to try and grab the wall. Super in a perfect position to go for the bandit trick, so whether or not they think it's not going to happen, they're still going to at least attempt it. Super, and he's, oh, that's a bad timing. And no, he's going to get deleted as the wall erupts in his face. Just half a second late, as well as, I believe, NVK coming into the fray with a kill of his own. Eclipse coming up the cash stairs, is easily looking down towards the garage door, and after getting the wall open, Young's gonna fall, going for the garage. Shuttle gonna grab 1, grab 2. It's all up to Geo, the glass now, rushing to the breach hole. A wonderful pick onto Easily. No diffuser in hand, though, as it's lost in construction. He has to go for the picks. He hits the Legion Mine, and this is all but over for Geo, pulling out the PMM in hand, walking into a crossfire in construction, gets 1 onto Eclipse, but Shuttle, the hero of the round for Rogue. Match point, series point, elimination point, EG with nowhere to go. It's almost over. This is not looking good for EG.
How poetic is it that 2 of the last people alive, the people changing hands, Shuttle going over to Rogue, and then Geo staying on EG. All the hopes and dreams of Evil Geniuses on that resting in the hands of their newest member against his former team, possibly trying to read through a defense that, that he might be somewhat familiar with. Overall, impressive round by both EG and Rogue, though EG falling off of the pace. Super just missing that bandit trick by a second. It honestly looked like he was able to get it down, but we were given a spectacular view of that wall exploding. An MXC impact replay could possibly even be employed to go over that explosive blast through the wall. Match point for Rogue. They've locked out cache CCTV. They have to go somewhere else. We're not going to see Jim and Master from them. They'll head down into the basement in what used to be Clubhouse's most defensive site, I think you could possibly say for it. A couple changes onto Blue have made it not necessarily as viable as it used to be. Both Eclipse and Shuttle breaking double digits, with Super and Slash fulfilling their roles on support, not necessarily needed for much fragging potential at all. Super transitioning from the fragging style over to more support role, of course, was in charge of most of the plants as well, not all the plants for Rogue when they played on attack. So that could possibly have been all of EG's momentum dried up. It did look like Geo might be able to make that comeback as he got the kill through the wall in garage, then pushed into construction, but went for the hop out. And of course, Glass is usually not going to be the person that you have planting, so holding that diffuser wasn't exactly something that I think they were anticipating for him. It'll be interesting to see the way that Rogue plays this downstairs. Valkyrie and Maestro means that, as usual, they're going to have an abundance of information at their disposal, depending on the way they play it. EG with the Thermite Glass combo could possibly bother to push through dirt if that's the way they want to go, but they also have a Habana to hit those hatches, which means that you could fairly effectively have a push going from 2 separate angles. It's typically what we'll see when you look downstairs. Either you'll have one body go down towards Church or down through the Moto hatch, and then you'll have another go through Blue, or maybe one through Church Moto hatch, or one through Blue and the other through dirt. It really depends on the way that EG wants to line things up, but they'll start by trying to clear the second floor and then go from there.
EG bringing the double breach and the Thermite and the Hibana makes me think they might also try to go a little old school, a little Season 1 and Thermite open the church wall. We've seen a resurgence of that coming back whenever defenses played downstairs on Clubhouse. It is a little surprising, Rita, that it took until round number 8 to get a defense downstairs. As we mentioned a couple times, probably thought EG was going to head there. MVK, speaking of EG, is going to start things off. On to Easily. That's the Legion gone. Only about a minute deep into the round. So again, those goo mines accumulate over time, and he's not going to have many placed around the objective, especially he still had a couple in hand as he was peeking up those blue stairs into the stock room. And EG, of course, right outside of blue, inside of stock. Looks like it might be a blue push here. As long as they can get the stock hatch open and have that cover from above, they might just elect to ignore Moto and Church and the main hallway entirely. Go for a full rotate and a blue push down with the glass leading the headway.
Need to be a little bit more particular with your Hibana charges. By the way, one change that did go into effect with the new hatches, just for a moment there as we got to see it, is 4 of your 6 XK rows need to land on the hatch in order for it to blow. There you go. You can see all 6 on there. If 3 of those were blown up, then there goes the hatch. In desperation, Rogue tosses up a Nitro Cell to maybe prevent that hatch in Kitchen from being blown, but it doesn't go anywhere as the Nitro Cell fails to thread the needle through those two metal rails, and instead will blow up a little bit below, meaning that the hatch will go. You failed to protect the hatch while also losing some of your possible defensive prowess with that Nitro Cell in the meantime. Everybody from Evil Genius is still upright, and they've got a lot of tools at their disposal to possibly make this work. Frag grenades to take out those barbed wires, and then the smoke from Geo will be a great way for them to be able to push. Exothermic charge going off now, and this could possibly be a Church push, as you mentioned, down through blue. Canadian will wait as he hits the bottom of Oil Pit. Whether he'll be able to make any significant headway here or not. He's got a deployable shield and Eclipse just waiting. Sight-trained Adam, MVK, who got the very first kill. Shuttle with 2 on the flank. The Jaeger able to swing this back in Rogue's favor, looking to try to close this out for Rogue. The first time that they could possibly come in here. Eclipse is in, but no! What is going on? Shuttle with 2 huge knives, that's it! And the only blue blood will come from Evil Geniuses as Rogue takes it 6-2. A number that is very familiar for EG, and Rogue 2-0, they'll advance to the semifinals.
6-2, 6-2, 6-2, 6-2, 6-2 now. Not quite the 7-6, 7-6 performance we saw in Paris. And the rematch, it looks like Rogue clearly have the upper hand, at least demonstrated today. That was just a poor showing from Evil Geniuses, I think, throughout. I think they have a lot to work on. I don't think maybe the roster change is the end of the world for them, but in the current form, their current play, it's just not good enough.
Yeah, there's some things that they're really going to need to work on here as EG fails to advance out of the quarterfinals. A triumphant performance from Rogue, who so far